Alright, good morning guys. This is the weekend. My schedule's a little different, so I was able on the Lather Games thread for today to see what the surprise challenge was before I did my shave. Well, unfortunately for me, a bowl shaver who enjoys bowl shaving, the challenge is to switch things up and face lather if you're a bowl shaver and vice versa. So we'll do that. This is the 299th shave of my Nacet blade, and I wanted to pick a couple of cool things to use for that. This is one of my first brushes that I ever jumped into after leaving the Vanderhagen type brush behind, and the tweezerman type brushes, you know, all those available at Walmart back then. This is a Silvertip from Whip Dog, and I was advised that they were good knots a few years ago, and I still enjoy it to this day. It's a little floppy for some guys out there who like the two-band knots, but it's a Silvertip. It's not supposed to be a firm two-band. Very soft, cloud soft. This is actually a 22 millimeter in the tall Whip Dog handle. I have since discovered I don't like the ergonomics quite so much of this handle because they bring, see the saddle here? I call it the saddle, the low point in the curve. It brings my fingertips up a little too close to where all the mess is. But otherwise, it's a very nice handle. I put a 22 in here because at the time I was using a 24 and I felt like, wow, I don't need all this. Let me knock it down to a 22 and see how that works. And that worked fine. Now, I probably might change my mind, and I might even order a 26 or 24 from him and put it in a different handle, because because this one has enough splay, you know, for my face, I might like it to have just a little bit more backbone due to some density. And so that might be a reason for me to up the diameter. Anyway, let's get this guy soaking. Traveling. I'm in a relative's house today. And then also some significant things. This guy is the 1936 Gillette vintage. I said 1936, so you know it's vintage. It's an open comb, of course. This is the 36 Aristocrat. This was made in America, and this was made, and it was the first twist to open one-piece razor. Now, technically this was not it. The 34 was the first one, but this is almost identical to the 34. Came out 2 years later. And this shaves a lot better, which is why this guy is being used today instead of the 34. The 36 is a lot smoother. The 34 has a more narrow head. This one's kind of narrow, but the 34 is even more narrow, so it has I would assume then a flatter trajectory with the blade curve. Another thing a way to tell them apart is you can look underneath here, and on the 36, you'll see the rivets under right there where these arms here, you know, connect. But on the 36, you'll see the rivets like you do now, the bolts. But on the 34, I believe you don't. Otherwise, it's kind of hard to tell them apart, especially if you've never seen the head height in comparison with each other. And if you look at these on eBay, sometimes it's difficult unless you've really trained your eyes for that ratio to tell them apart, unless you can see underneath there. Even the patent information written on the unknurled bands here is identical. So let's take my Nacet. I'm looking forward to using other blades, but not really yet, because we're about to hit 300. I'm really excited about that. But I'm also looking forward to trying another blade and see how long I can take it. The Nacet's not done yet. Just to show you that it's the 3 dots there, and we still have that same bend that I put in it on use 225 when I dropped it. Just to show you it's the same blade. ready to go. And so special razor, to me, a special brush, and the aftershave is one I enjoy a lot, DFS, and it's from L&L Grooming, who later became Declaration Grooming, of course. And it's the 2017 limited edition splash for that. It's a damnfineshave.com, made for a meetup at an event that they had. Now, the soap is not as special to me because it is the one prescribed for this day, or at least the brand. And this is the only APR soap that I have. At least it's a pure APR soap. I think I do have Texaus, which is a collaboration between APR and Noble Otter. But this is a pure APR product. I don't really like the scent all that much. It's okay, but I just like a lot of them. A lot of other ones more. Looking at passion fruit, peach, things like that in this. I think I did smell a hint of vanilla somewhere, but mainly it's very sweet and fruity and almost a little too thick sweet, All right, so face lather. It's a different strategy today. I have got my brush wet. Now let me get my face wet. Ooh, a nice quiet faucet. That's pretty cool. A little bit longer growth than I usually have. I don't think I can use the towel that's under my camera. It'll probably fall off. Let me pause you and go get one. All right, well, today I happen to be using my Barrister Man 42 towel that I ordered last year when I got the 42 in Excelsior, I believe. Nice little towel. I'm a shave nerd. I bought a towel from a shave vendor. Okay, so for face lathering, there's a couple different ways that you can go. There's a lot of guys out there that overload the soap. They load for like 2 minutes. When I normally load for a bowl lather, I load for 30 seconds, and that's usually enough to give me 3 extra passes of lather. So that's an excess amount. And so a 2-minute load is, at least in reference to the way I shave, quite a waste. But it gets enough concentrate on their brush to hopefully help them to get through 3 passes of shaves. And then they also must like their lather a little drier than I do. And there's nothing wrong with that if that's what you like. But I don't. And if I lay it on really thick, then that means I've got so much water to add. And then all the water that you add is just flinging off, because as you add water, some of the lather gets thin enough to where you're liking it, but that's also thin enough to where it falls off because there's just so much excess on your face. So there's a different way to take it. I think it was Needs More Menthol that was sharing this with me. It could have been Mouthless the Shaver on Reddit. And his attitude, philosophy was, let's just get enough soap on the brush to kind of fill the brush up. Not the soap to fill the brush up, but enough soap so that the lather that you make fills the brush up. And so maybe a 30-second load, maybe a minute load, maybe a 45-second load, and then come at it with a wet brush as well. And then load enough soap to where that amount of water mixes with the soap nicely. And so it's not an overload per se. And so then you have a good consistency of lather on your brush to start with before it ever starts kind of touching your face. So let's try that. Got a wet brush. I'm going to resist the temptation to shake like I pretty much always do. I'm just going to we don't want all the water to dump out right away. So that's 3 shakes and quite a bit of water came out. Let's do one more. And then let's load up. Now, a lot of these containers, they intentionally leave room at the top for loading, and I'm glad for that today. So let's just get going. I started probably about 39. I'm just going to get going until it kind of looks right. That super sweet scent is coming up to me right away. what it looks like right now. And the tub here does look pretty soupy. Let's say that's probably going to be enough. So we'll try that. Okay, I was just rinsing off the tub, sides of the tub, and my face is still got some moisture, so let's go to it. I'm gonna work softly at first, so that if there's a kind of a supply of water in there that's by itself that hasn't combined much with the soap, it's not going to dump out immediately. And yeah, we're looking at nice soft tips. Feels very good. Face lathering is nice if you really enjoy the feel of the brush on your face a lot. Now, I think my bowl lathering technique, where I do work that lather into my face for a couple of minutes on the first pass, I think I do get a good bit of enjoyment from that. So to me, that's not as much of an issue. But face lathering can give you a lot of opportunity to work your face. You can also kind of detect when the lather is getting right, because your skin is a wonderful tool for feeling the creaminess and the hydration of the lather. So that's something else that's got face lathering has going for it. If you figure out your technique really well, then it can also be a speedy way to do it. You can have quicker shaves. This is starting to feel a little bit pasty. I did a good bit of work with face lathering, trying to get a good technique, and I got an okay technique, but in general I did find that I was not able to get, or rather it was too tedious to get to the point where I really liked my lathers in terms of hydration. It just took too long adding water, and as you added it, it would fly off because things would get loose, you know. So since things are feeling a little bit pasty, I added a little bit less than half a teaspoon to my brush. So if you don't overload, then you don't have as much water to add. So there's good potential there. I like to have a nice wet lather, as my regular viewers know. And one of the reasons is because it bonds with your skin and really gives you some good protection. But you can mitigate that a little bit with a face lather that's a little more thick by just giving more time for that lather to soak into your bristles. A wet lather may do it a little quicker, but as long as it's reasonably wet, an even drier lather can still do that. Just give it a little bit longer to kind of work into your skin, be able to protect you well. All right, that's more dry than I'd like, but let's just go for it. We do have some, lather left over for use in subsequent passes. That's one of the weaknesses of the face lathering. Sometimes you don't end up with quite enough lather. And your lathers are definitely less quality, less creamy, rich, nice, good, all those words on the third pass than they are the first pass. All right, here we go. Use number 299. There was a period at about use 200 where I didn't know. I really thought the blade was toward the end, and I didn't even know if it was going to go another 20. And then I just started, because I'd found a couple of razors that it worked with, and then it was starting not to work with those razors anymore. But I said, you know what, let's just start working through the razor collection, because maybe it's not that it's the other razors that it hasn't worked with before. Maybe things have changed because of the geometry of the edge, because of, you know, the age and the wear. Maybe there are other razors that will give it a good run. That's what I did. And sure enough, I found a good many that give a nice comfy shave. Those also might be a little bit too mild. So I've kind of put those in the too mild list. I've got some that don't give very good. I kept a good list, and at some point I'll show that to you on the channel. But then I found about 3 or 4 that are still able to shave this blade with this blade pretty closely. Wolfman WR2, a Fatip Grande, which is their open comb, and the vintage adjustables like the Slim and the Black Beauty are doing pretty well. And I think there's one more I discovered, but I can't remember what it is. I'm going to leave this right here. No, you know what? I'm going to take it off because, see, I need those extra suds. Got to conserve lather here. Okay, I'm going to give myself a very small rinse. Mainly just to rehydrate and not really to remove any lather. Because I know I'm going to, you know, if I'm going to have a lather shortage, then let's try to conserve it. The scent is a lot nice. It's very intense from the puck. Let's see, let me get some of this side lather off. It's intense from the puck, but it's better during the shave. And see, even now, this second pass of lather, look how kind of weak that is. Now it'll still get the job done, but it's not, you know, luxurious like one of my bowl lathers is. And of course, one of the solutions is just, you know, go to the bowl and add a little bit more soap. Well, you can do that, but you know what that means? Sometimes that means now you're stuck in that water adding cycle and start to do that all over again like you did on the first pass. And I find that to be kind of tedious. But, you know, maybe, well, I think I loaded enough soap. Everything looked really good that first pass, you know. Now maybe the bowl lathers are not able to use smaller knots like this because maybe they don't hold quite as much soap as a face lather might need. With a bowl, you can mix your lather just once. With face lather, I'm having to do it twice now. Now, granted, if you're not as picky as I am, you'll be fine, right? And that is just up to you. That's still quite dry, but you know, let's just keep going. I'm sure that at some point, if I was forced into face lathering on a regular basis, I would, try to figure out a good technique that made me happy. But for right now, if I had to face lather, I wouldn't really enjoy it nearly as much. I might even be skipping days and things like that. Well, this razor is handling this blade very well. You know what, I'm not going to rinse again because, well, just a little, add a little bit of water back to it because it just kind of washed out my lather before. It is a thin, kind of dry feeling layer I have right now. Oh, you know what? This is the third pass, so what I'm going to do is make use of the stuff in the brush knot. Kind of spread that around to help my face. This is a good soap, good quality soap base. Does very well. Cross grain again for the third pass. I don't feel very much hair being cut, so that's good. Then down here in my trouble spot, that's one place where I do some of the skin kind of pulling to get those problem hairs. Light touch as always. Keep it super light. You can always come back again. Take some of my goatee lather and put it right here for another very nice. Didn't generate any irritation. It's always a risk for me when I hit my neck again. All right, I'm going to pause you while I do the full rinse. That really is a pretty close result. I just checked everything out. Really nice. Rinse out in the brush here. So I did end up adding almost 2 teaspoons to the lather, to the brush, as I built up the face on the first and second passes. Always get a good rinse on your brush. Get that soap out of the middle. With natural hair brushes, that alkalinity of the soap can eat away at your hairs and cause them to break. I mean, if it's a brush you value. If you want to change brushes every year and you don't care, then that's fine, right? All right, so I shake it out and then I go and work it on a towel. Usually I have a towel hanging up somewhere that I'm able to kind of work it back and forth on instead of having to do everything handheld, but that's all right. We're traveling, things are different. And then we'll just, now once I do this, there's not really any standing water in there. Doesn't matter. If you put it in a stand hanging upside down, there's no dripping going to go on. Or if you put it on its base, either way, it'll dry the same. A lot of people think they have to buy a brush stand and a razor stand, and you don't. You do not. And there we go, folks, $2.99. So let's put on the DFS 2017 from L&L, who has become Declaration Grooming. I really like this scent, so I wanted to put something on that I enjoyed to kind of cover up the sweet fruity stuff from the soap. Speaking of sweet fruity, I just was talking to a guy, and he's going to send me some Sterling Peach. I haven't had a chance to try that one yet. I've heard it's really good. This one has a little bit of menthol, so we've got a little bit of burning going on, but hopefully that won't be too bad. All right, guys. That is it for today. The razor did great, comfy shave, and a close one too, so I might have to put this one in my list of good razors that can handle this Nacet. And then the Passione from Australian Private Reserve. Good soap base that they have there, and man, they do some collaborations with other folks like Noble Otter. Of course, Noble Otter's got a great base. Don't hesitate to check those out if you think you might like that scent from them. Most of the time, their scents with Noble Otter seem to be a little less strong, and so if you like more mild scents or medium to slightly lower than that strength in scents, then I would check those out. If you like really strong ones, then maybe look around and try to find somebody who has personal experience with it and make sure first before you buy. All right, $2.99, can you believe that? So tomorrow's $300. I'll be shaving with my Dart, Blackland Dart, because that's the one that started it all a couple of years ago, Austere August, and so that's the celebration there. There we go. And tomorrow, I believe, is Natural Oils Day, as in don't use a soap that has fragrance oils in it. And so I think we're going to be using a Sudsy Soapery scent. They have some natural oil type soaps as well. Dr. John's has a collection of natural oil scented soap, if you like those. So there we go. So $2.99. Whew, man, kind of excited. I don't know whether to use the Nacet for the last day of the Lather Games or not, because that'll be its 301st shave. So I don't know to switch to something else or not. Anyway, you guys take care. Have a good day. This is Sugar Daddy Shaves, and I hope there's been something in this video that's going to help you out. Take care now. Bye.